All right. I'm gonna check again. I know people said they could hear the music, but last time we did a live stream, nobody could hear me talking for the first 5 minutes or whatever it was. So I'm talking now. Let me know. Somebody give me a thumbs up, a hello, something in the chat to let me know that, okay, yes. We can also hear you talk. Perfect. All right. Yeah, last time, oh man, it was so disappointing. Got the live stream already. I had all those technical problems. Anyway, not today. And today we have some exciting news to tell you guys about. So let me get this going here. I'm going to get this other window opened up here. Tease you guys for a few more minutes while we get everything set up. Okay, pretty sure that's working. So yeah, a few people in chat saying the game's coming along great so far. Excited about the project. Before we go any further, just wanted to, as always, thank you guys for being behind the project, playing the game, enjoying it, giving me feedback, talking to me on Discord. All that stuff really keeps me going. Supporting on Patreon, obviously, but all that stuff really, really does keep me going and helps, push the project forward. So there's a couple things to tell you guys about today. Some big news, fun things. Let me just hit you with the highlights, and then we will dive into things, and I'll tell you more. So if you're just tuning into the stream late or something, you just want to know what are the big ticket announcements, you'll at least know what's going to be talked about in the stream. One big announcement is we're going to have a Steam page soon. Yes, I'm officially signed up as a Steam developer. Just got the okay. And we're going to have a Steam page soon. I'll tell you more about exactly how it's going to proceed, but the game is probably still about 8 to 12 months away from being to a finished product where I think I'd be comfortable putting it for sale on Steam. So it will still sort of stay in this preview mode, and you'll be able to play a demo, and patron supporters will get a preview build, but it will be wish listable on Steam, and there will eventually be a more official Steam demo and all sorts of good things. So I'll elaborate that a little bit more later in the stream as to what's going on with that, but that's a big announcement. The other big announcements are all gameplay related, so let me see if I can transition this here for us. Transition. Because the best way to learn about new gameplay improvements is to just see them. So one thing that I have been telling you guys about in sort of updates on Patreon and stuff is that I've been working a lot. One of the things I've really been trying to do is polish a lot of the rough edges off of the game and just update things like the user interface and stuff, make it look nicer. So we'll see a lot of those improvements here today, but I'm going to jump into the tutorial mission here for our first little mission because we have a new mechanic that I want to show off, which I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised by. And there's some aesthetics to notice along the way. So this is the tutorial mission for those of you who haven't played it in a while, or maybe who never played it. A few minor aesthetic things that you'll notice are that when you zoom out, you get clearer indicators of unit names and also health bars. And let me tell you, on big battles, this is really important. It actually lets you see what's going on in those big battles. Also, here's a fun little addition. So we're going to start our little tutorial here. We're going to get our guy fighting. And we got some new mech death animations, as you can see there. They kind of come fast in the tutorial because these guys are such lightweights. But, again, in line with improving aesthetics, improving feel, I really wanted to make mech deaths matter more because I feel like they kind of just sometimes go by so quickly you don't even notice in the previous versions of the game. So mech deaths matter more now, or they feel like they matter more. And in fact, it's not just aesthetics. There's going to be, as you'll see, there's some new salvage mechanics that I'm going to show off later today. So yes, very meaty explosion, splattery. Really wanted them to sort of have an oomph behind them. And we're almost at that new gameplay feature. I couldn't show it to you immediately because I had to actually earn it. So if you were paying attention in the last minute or so, there's this new bar in the UI. that slowly built up as I was fighting. And this is something called your focus bar. And so all mechs will have this now by default. And when your focus builds up, you earn something called a called shot. So, you know, in thinking about how MetalMercs was playing and feeling, I kind of realized that there was something that was missing from it. An element of control. And that might seem weird in a game where you can order your units to attack and target and do whatever you want, but here's what I mean by an order of control. There's no way for me to tell this guy what to shoot at and what to kill and when to do it. I can give him a target, but largely he's going to make the decisions. So the called shot is something that you earn, and once your units have earned it, you can select a unit with an active called shot and enter a called shot mode, where you can now select targets. And you'll see there's kind of two rings around your unit. There's the yellow ring and the red ring. The red ring shows the range of your farthest firing weapon. So in this case, it would be my heavy Vulcan cannon. So I could target this guy, but only the Vulcan is a potential weapon I could use. Anyone else who's in the smaller ring, every single weapon could fire. So let's select this little drone and see what we can actually do with a called shot. And this is where there's some fun added to the game. So this is something that I think people have been asking for a long time, and I wasn't quite sure how to implement it, and it kind of like came to me as I was sort of imagining what the game could be. And essentially you can now target specific points on an enemy. So for instance, I'm going to switch to a weapon here like the medium laser, which can target almost everything. You can do a headshot if you want. Headshots are now a thing in MetalMercs. Headshots have a 2-hit penalty, meaning they're a little harder to hit than a normal shot. They have a 4 times chance increase in injuring the enemy pilot, so you could potentially assassinate pilots and stuff. But truthfully, like, you probably need a specific build for this to be really effective, because chances of hurting pilots are still pretty low. And the reason for headshots not being, you know, super effective is because, well, if you can headshot even the beefiest mechs, then all of a sudden nothing is a threat. So headshots are there, but there's some other fun shots that you might want to take advantage of. For instance, a core shot is a guaranteed hit. It doesn't matter how low skilled your pilot is, how much dodging the enemy has, you get a guaranteed hit. And if your shot happens to go internal, you'll get double damage to any internal hits. So the core shot is a good shot for finishing mechs off, especially if they're weaker. You could target legs, which is another guaranteed hit. And you will not only damage the enemy, but for each point of damage you cause, you'll slow the enemy down, which is really good if enemies are trying to flee, you're fighting light mechs and they're running around. You could also have a fun shot. This is a fun one, a weapon shot. Another guaranteed hit, and if you happen to hit internal parts, you will be guaranteed to strike a random weapon. So you can cause a critical hit for sure. Other options you have, if the mech had our ammo, we could target ammo, and this is like a weapon shot, but it's no longer a guaranteed hit. But if you do strike internals, then you will cause an ammo explosion. You can't target which ammo bay you're shooting at. It'll just cause some ammo explosion if there is one. And then you could target individual weapons if you want. And these ones are not guaranteed hits, but if you get an internal hit, you will damage that weapon. So that's one thing. There's all these different options. Now, the thing is, different weapons have different abilities. So for instance, the Vulcan cannon, the heavy Vulcan, cannot do headshots. So the heavy Vulcan cannon is like a big, it's almost like it's not really a shotgun, but you can imagine like a big beefy gun. If you have a light Vulcan cannon or a light Mach gun or a laser, then those are more precision weapons, you know, sort of like sniper shots or lasers. So those can target head, they can target individual weapons. Heavy Vulcans can't target head, they can't target individual weapons, but they can target sort of the base things. Then you get to things like rockets and missiles. And they can target legs and they can target torsos, but they're not doing core shots. They're doing what are called bomb shots or bombardments. And this basically is still a guaranteed hit, but now you're doing double damage to armor rather than internals. There's a few other specialties that different weapons have. For instance, Scorchers. They, instead of targeting the core, either internal or armor, they target coolant, which causes more heat damage. You also have high energy cannons, HECs. Rather than targeting weapons, generally they can like overload all the weapons on a mech for 6 seconds. So it's like a nice like blast burst that can sort of disrupt an enemy. And another long requested feature that is finally here, you could say, screw it, let's just alpha strike this guy. And every weapon that is about to fire will highlight so you can see precisely what's going to fire. You can see your 2-hit chances. You can see how much damage you're going to cause, how much heat you're going to generate. And again, the alpha strike is not a guaranteed hit, but it is surely quite fun. So the idea with the called shots, you can now have some precision in shooting at enemies. If you're familiar with Fallout, it's kind of like a VATS shot, you know? And you can accumulate these called shots and save them for when you really need them. You can use them as soon as you want. You can just be alpha striking like crazy. Yeah, definitely. So where pilot skills function is, poor pilots and extremely experienced pilots will earn called shots at the same rate. So it's not like the bad pilots get fewer of them. But if you have a really good pilot, then he or she will have a high to hit chance, and you can experiment with targeting specific weapons and ammo and stuff. If you have a pilot who's not very good, you probably instead want to use one of the guaranteed shots, which is basically just sort of damage or a bit of slowdown. So it's, the more skilled pilots have options of more precision strikes, whereas the less skilled pilots are still getting guaranteed hits, which kind of helps them out, but it's a little more basic. But I don't know, why don't we alpha strike this guy and take him to town? So we'll do an alpha strike, and basically every weapon just fired in slow-mo on this guy, and off he goes. So yeah, so that's the big new mechanic that I was sort of hyping up. And also, if you want, you can click this auto button, and when your pilot earns a called shot, they will just take it themselves. So you don't have to micromanage them. So, in really big battles, you may just want to, divert some pilots to auto. Or if you have a mech that doesn't have too many exciting called shot options, you might set them to auto. But if you want, you can let them accumulate again. And then it's really good to, use strategically. If a unit is trying to run away, you can do that last shot on them to finish them off. Like this guy here. Okay, let's see if we can do something fun on him. So he's got 21% armor left, 79% internal. So this is basically whatever shot I shoot at him is a 21% chance of hitting armor, but almost 80% chance of internals. So I'm going to go and try and do an ammo shot on him. So I have a 79% chance to hit. But if I do hit him, then it's going to cause an ammo explosion. So let's give it a shot. I hit him and I hit armor. How anticlimactic. All right, well, we'll have more opportunities to play around with this, but let's just finish him off for now. Down you go. Oh, we caused an ammo explosion after all. Yeah. So those new explosions are really fun to come up with. We even got some really good new sound effects for the mech explosions and stuff. So yeah, not to toot my own horn too much, but it feels like the explosions are more fun now. And I don't know about you, but they hit my dopamine receptors just right. So, okay, we're going to leave the tutorial for now, and I'm going to show you some of the other cool new things that's going on in the game now. We'll skip this sort of unlock screen. That only exists in the sort of free demo. Obviously, the patrons, they don't get that screen normally. But, all right, we're going to start a new campaign here. And let's see. So we'll go into 5016, and I'm going to be sovereignty today because I want to fight against the corporate, because I want to show you a few small tweaks that occurred for them. Nothing too substantial, more aesthetic stuff, but it's fun. So this is all fine. And this one. One thing you might notice is the unit sizes have been reduced slightly from what they were in the previous version of the game. And that's just, I'm still sort of tweaking the difficulty and the growth curve of the game. And with the new called shots mechanic, honestly, your forces are a little more powerful than they used to be. So I'm trying to kind of balance everything. But yeah, right now the opponent, the computer, will never use called shots against you. That isn't always going to be the case. Right now, you know, you're playing in the core, which is a nice, calm area of space. When we eventually get to beyond the core and stuff, there will be people who don't play by the rules, and you may fight some more elite enemy forces and stuff. But here's another new addition. So the draft now includes both pilots and mechs, and the very first, you know, pick of the draft is basically your commander. So it's not really a pick at all. But this was my commander, who I didn't really mess with any of the defaults. I just, you know, this sort of was randomly generated. But yeah, so we have Aurora here as our commander. And so the draft will now randomly alternate between pilots and mechs until you have, in my case, I selected 8 mechs as my starting. And so, you know, we're going to get 8 pilots and 8 mechs. But previously, when you did the draft, you only drafted mechs and pilots were just randomly doled out to you. But now you actually have the choice, so you can find pilots that sort of fit the build that you want. Oh my god, this guy's legendary. Hold on, we got to pick this guy. You know, versatile is such a shame. It doesn't really work well for legendary because he can pilot anything. But, I mean, look at those skills, man. The dude's pimped out. That's so funny. I don't think I've seen that in my tests. I mean, I know it's in the code, it can occur. But yeah, anyway, we'll take him because he's legendary. And let's see. I just need a good variety of dudes. So I like the Gladiator. It's a good mech. And well, I mean, this guy's like totally underskilled. We're gonna go with this guy, I think. Prismatic seems like such a waste to have if you're you know, not the corporate. These guys are pretty comparable. I'll grab this guy, and I will grab this guy. And who else do I want here? Oh yeah, somebody said in the comments there, Clava Hunter says that that legendary guy is going to be expensive. He will, only I think I have wages turned off, so I'm playing on wimp mode. But yes, otherwise he would be super pricey to keep around. Okay, I need to just pick guys so that we can get going here. So I'm just gonna. I do like the long strike. Good. And I'll do the paladin. And the Legionnaire. I'm trying to get guys with like missiles or just like decent-ish guys, I guess. Don't know what I'm going for specifically here today. Didn't really have a firm plan ahead of time. I want the Legionnaire. And the Guardian. And there's my crew. Oh yeah, and Clava Hunter. So it says they were all 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. So pilots tend to be in classes the same way mechs tend to be. So it tends to be you get a set of 3 that are fairly comparable. So for mechs, they tend to be about the same weight class. For pilots, they tend to be about the same skill. So we just happened to roll like a legendary pilot pick, and we had like 3 really good pilots. But as you saw, that there were some times when it was 3 green pilots, sometimes it was 3 regulars. So it varies. It varies around a little bit. Okay, let's check the contracts and see if we can find something against the corporate. And I guess nothing around here. One thing you'll notice too is there's, you know, in the game, there's all sorts of other little like tool tips that I've tried to add to kind of explain what's going on. And for instance, if you like lock, you know, a contract thing, you'll see the locked pop up. So, you know, a lot of this came from the game show that I did a few months back, where like I was watching people play the game and like people didn't know what buttons meant and didn't know what this meant. And it just got me thinking like, yeah, like if you never watched my stream, like how would you know what any of this stuff is? And so one of the things I really wanted to improve, want to keep improving is, oh no, I've crashed it. What the heck did I do? BT frame has no option. Okay, well, bear with me for 1 second while I fix this in real time. We need. I mean, well, we just lost our a game that we just started, but I need to fix this so it doesn't crash for you guys. And we want if text colors. I think literally, I don't know if I've ever done a stream where we haven't crashed at least once. So, but I think I just fixed that bug, so it'll save you guys from a having to submit a bug report on Discord there. So this time we'll just do a randomly generated crew. How about that? BCZ, the big reveal was called shots. Basically like a VATS mode from Fallout, if you're familiar with that. Your pilots earn a called shot. When the called shot is earned, you can freeze time, select an enemy, and then you get a guaranteed hit. And you can choose like head, torso, legs, weapons, etc., ammo. And I mean, not all of those are guaranteed. Some are and some aren't. And some weapons have different called shot capabilities. And we'll see a little more of that. So we're gonna go into another mission here and we'll see more of that. Hawkbird Tree asks, so this is a custom engine. Yes, it is. Completely written from scratch in Python, which these days now I kind of wish I did it in Godot, because now that I'm sort of like, oh, the game's eventually going to come out on Steam, I'm like, if it was ever going to come out on console or something, I mean, this is putting the cart before the horse. I'm like, man, I have to rewrite this thing. So, okay, hold on. We gotta find a contract against. We want to be fighting against the corporate. So, like somewhere over here might be good. We want like a border planet that's a little far away from the central worlds. The central worlds, it's, you know, the houses are not going to fight against one another because it's too obvious. The Star Region will get pissed at them. But here we go, a good old, this is a giant battle, in fact. 3 stars, though, which probably will crush us. Let's give it a shot, though, just for the sake of seeing. Yeah, why not? Why not launch now? So today I think I'm just going to mess around. I may cheat a little bit to push us through a few missions just so we can see some of the features that I want to show to you guys. But in terms of other small little aesthetic touches, you know, like columns 1, 2, and 3 have these little backgrounds now, you know, and like, for instance, as you like add mechs, you know, you can like see the backgrounds behind them. So like little minor things. You can also, for instance, I've added this extra column to the mech and pilot assignments. So you can see like what group, you know, is it in group 1, 2, or 3? So it's easier, you know, if you have a big list of mechs, you can kind of track, you know, which column did I put them in? Also, if you like if you just hover over a mech, you can see it highlighting over here in cyan. So you can sort of easily see like, wait, which mech is this in your list? So just tiny little touches to like help the flow of the game. So we need a few more mechs, by the way. I'm gonna cheat and give myself a bunch of money. But just tiny little touches to make the game more aesthetically, you know, easier to deal with and stuff. So ultimately, as I say, I'll talk a little bit more soon about like what's going on with Steam and stuff. Crap, we have no other pilots. All right, I guess we're going in with 8 people. But the idea is people will play this game, hopefully. I mean, who knows? Hopefully people will play this game who've never watched any of these streams. So we want to make the game as user-friendly to them and as intuitive as possible. One other thing you might be noticing, which you'll see in a minute, is the minimap is dimmed right now. And that's because we're going to be playing a new night mission, which is another new feature in the game. So when the game, I have it set right now, so every mission is a night mission, in case you're wondering. But the way it will work when you actually get the demo, when I release it, is only about 10% of missions will be night missions. But when you have a night mission, you're literally fighting at night. There's some reduced visibility, and all units have an increased dodge chance. So it kind of benefits shorter range and lighter mechs. Yeah, it sort of adds a bit of, you know, another tactical edge to like deciding what kind of loadout will be ideal. Okay, I should finish assigning my mechs. I only have 8 crew though, so let's see. I'm gonna assign this, and this. We got 3 more. Yikes, this is gonna be a tough battle. This is a 3-star mission, which is the hardest. There's gonna be like assault mechs and stuff running around. And I've literally got like a light medium force. So, will be interesting. As I say, I can always cheat us to victory as needed. The legendary guy, so remember the game crashed just a few minutes ago and I had to reboot? He's lost to the digital ages. He's gone. He got erased. So sadly, but that's okay. He got snapped away Thanos style. All right, now as this boots up, so here's another little thing. We have little mission alerts. Right now, these only come up at the beginning of a mission, but later I plan to add them, you know, like if you're doing an intercept mission, it will be like, you know, enough enemies have been intercepted, you've succeeded, and little notifications like that. One thing we will get to see right now, though, oh shoot, I never repaired those mechs I purchased. They're going into battle. Oh, pre-damaged. Oh, this is awful. Thank God I can cheat, eh? So one thing we'll get to see here is the new name tags and how it can help you track large battles. So previously, you know, you just see a bunch of mechs go into the middle of the battlefield and like shooting at each other nonstop, and like, you know, it is what it is. Like, you're like, I don't know who's winning. Am I losing? Am I in trouble? Now you get these little, you know, you can see group 1, 2, and 3 very clearly here. You can see your allies. And when the enemies do appear, you'll be able to see them in red. So you get some nice info there. Also, the health bars are drawn slightly differently at the zoomed out scale. Now, if you do like the idea of being able to see the names of your units at all times, you can click on tags so that they're always on at any zoom level. You can also turn them off if you find them annoying and you want to go back to the old style, or you can leave them. Sort of the half measure is when it's zoomed in, they don't appear unless you hover over them. When you zoom out, then they do appear. So whatever you prefer, you can hover over this to get some info on you know, like, you know, what's going on. But anyway, here come the enemies, and so again, you can kind of see them. Now here is another change. Pause for a second just to show you. The Orion shields have been completely reworked. Previously, they operated just like extra health. Now, instead of operating like extra health, I mean, truthfully, part of this game was inspired by FTL, and I went back and was playing it recently. I was like, oh, they have such a better shield mechanic, and it made me kind of rethink some of how the Orion shields work. And so the shields in the Orion mechs now are pips. So the shields, you know, Orion mechs will have somewhere between 2 and 5 pips, depending on, like, the biggest mech, I think, might have 4, maybe 5, but I think 4. And then the smaller mechs might have 2. A pip can stop a single shot from any weapon that it intercepts. So, you know, guns like the autocannons and the Vulcans, they go right through shields still. But like a laser, small, you know, medium, heavy, a high energy cannon, anything, a single shot will be blocked by a single shield pip. So in theory, you want to wear the pips down with like small laser shots or something like that. But once the pips are all gone, then these units have like a little timing bar that builds up, and when it reaches max, then they regenerate 1 pip. If they take damage while that bar is generating, the bar gets knocked back down. So basically, once you knock an Orion mech shields out, if you keep hitting it, its shields will never come back online. It needs a sort of a moment to go and regenerate. And then once a pip comes back up, a single weapon shot will take it back down. So the shields may sound like they got a big debuff, but in some ways they got a buff, because previously, you know, like 12 shields would block 12 damage, but 1 pip can now block an entire high energy cannon. So 3 pips could block 30 damage, or they could block 9 damage if it's 3 small lasers that hit them. So they're a little more strategic, and they have a cool new effect, so hopefully we can see it here. So yeah, when they get hit, you get like a nice sort of shimmer effect to try to show, and you get that little block thing that pops up. I know it happens fast in these big battles, but anyway, so that's sort of one of the changes that we made to the Orion shields, and you can sort of see there the little blue bar that's generating, and it keeps getting knocked back down because this mech is taking damage, and then boom, down he goes. Okay, so I'm gonna let a few more of these mechs get destroyed, and then I'm gonna show you another sort of feature that's going on here. And yeah, being able to see the names too. I know big battles are still kind of chaotic, but you can at least sort of see where the front line is and see like where you're pushing the units back and where you're sort of falling back yourself. So, you know, on the smaller battles it's much more manageable, but some of these big battles, it's like just sort of like a ton of chaos going on. But I think the names may help a bit. At least that's the goal of them. Oh geez, I think I just lost a unit. This is going poorly. Yeah, they have like some heavy hitting guys. I might have to abandon this mission shortly and try a different one, but we'll sort of see what happens. Okay, so here's the other new mechanic. This one is not as big as... Oh, and if you hadn't seen called shots, let's do a called shot first. So you can see everyone blinking has a called shot, so you can see it there. They also blink in the sidebar so that you notice. So called shots I tried to make like really clear when you've got one. So let's see. So this guy... oh, he has nothing but a medium laser. All right. Let's try and do a called shot with this guy. So here are our options. Everyone in yellow is within range of my longest firing weapon. Within green, all my weapons. So let's go with this. And actually, yeah, that's probably our best target. I was like, oh, go for someone with less armor. Oh, we could go for this guy. So he's got armor only 27%. Now the thing is, I can get a guaranteed shot with my missile launcher, so I can do 18 damage, and I'll do double damage for any armor I hit, but he actually doesn't have a ton of armor. I could slow him down, but actually that's not very worthwhile. I guess instead I'll go for this guy. And, oh yeah. So the thing that has always been true about missiles is that if you're too close, they have a huge hit penalty when you're too close. I actually added a thing where rather than the missiles just going forward and blowing up in front of the enemy, when they miss at very close range, they sort of arc and curve off to the left and right. So it hard to see in the big battles, but if you notice that when you're playing the game, like the missiles are kind of arcing and like flying off, not even near the target, it's because they didn't even lock on. It was too close a shot and they missed. But I guess we'll go heavy laser. And yeah, I was going to say, like, we only have a 20% chance of hitting internals to do an ammo shot, but imagine we got an ammo explosion on this guy, how satisfying it would be. But our final to hit is only 30%, so the odds of it are so low. Let's give this a shot. So I could do a core shot, which is a guaranteed hit and double damage if I go internal. He's got so much health though, I don't think that'll matter. I'm gonna do a guaranteed hit, and if I happen to hit internal, I'm gonna crit hit one of his weapons, and let's just see what happens. So here we go. Boom. Oh, I got a critical hit. I don't know if you guys saw that. It kind of happened a little fast. We knocked out one of his medium lasers. All right. Let's wail on this dude here. Let's see if we can do it again. Repeat the magic. See what happens. Weapon shot. I think that was an armor hit. Let's try this guy. Could do a light Mech shot. I don't know if this is any different. I guess it's about the same. This does more damage. We're gonna keep trying to knock his weapons out. I think we keep hitting armor though. Anyone else? Nah, he's out of range. This guy only has a medium laser left. And my champion. And he... Oh, he can Vulcan him. Alright, we're gonna try and snipe him. Once again, knocking out his weapons. Come on, weapon shot. Nope. Alright, well, it was a long shot anyway. But yeah, this battle is going horrible. I mean, I was totally outclassed for this. I should not have gone into battle with the forces I did. Oh, my mechs! They're all dying. Okay, so the other mechanic I'll show you, and then we'll bail out of this mission into a more successful one, is that there's now, in battle, there is a salvage pool. And the way this works is that when mechs get destroyed, they show up either in the ruined or the salvage pool tab here. And so we've actually only destroyed 2 mechs, period. So this battle is going so badly. But the way it works is that when mechs get destroyed, if they take their final shot and then no other shots land and they blow up, then they usually end up in the downed state, which means that they are now a viable chassis. And when it comes time to salvage things, if they end up in your salvage list, you will be able to just salvage them at 100% chance of them being restorable. On the other hand, if a mech takes its final shot and starts to like go critical, so starts exploding and flashing, but a few other shots start to land, then it will eventually go into the damaged category, and eventually devastated, and eventually ruined. And so these 2 mechs went in the ruined category. And the reason is we're in a big battle. There's all sorts of mechs firing. When a mech goes critical, there's probably too many mechs just firing at these guys, just finishing off their last shot, that it just did way too much damage and they ended up as ruined. And so these mechs, not only can you not salvage these mechs, but all the weapons on them and everything are lost. So if you want the best salvage in the game, the idea now during combat is to take mechs down with a light touch, which means, and you may be wondering, like, why is this mechanic in the game? The whole thinking behind all of this is I was thinking about deathballing. You know that where you take every single unit that you've got and you target a single enemy and you let them just obliterate him? Of course, it's a fun mechanic, and you can still do that if you want. I didn't want to make deathballing not something that you could do in the game. But what I wanted to do is kind of have like a penalty reward system. So if you don't deathball, if you spread your units out, if you let them engage about 1-on-1 with enemies, maybe 2-to-1, and you let them sort of take enemies down more gradually, then more mechs will end up in the downed and damaged category. Your salvage will be richer. If you are deathballing a lot and just obliterating every enemy that comes near you, you can do that, but you might end up with very few salvageable mechs at the end of the day. So basically that's what the salvage pool is, and that's how it works right now. And I'm just gonna like pretend like we just succeeded in this mission with my little developer cheats there, but yeah, mission successful. Sure, we held the enemies back. Why not, right? And right, so here there's a few more little aesthetic updates to the salvage screen. So right now, the only so I've actually separated out mechs, parts, and repairs. So normally there's 3 tabs. Because not a single mech was not ruined, we have no parts and no mechs, we just have repairs. The repairs now, when you drag them over, you can more clearly see exactly what they're going to do. So if I'm dragging over armor plates, I can see now in blue what is going to be repaired. So you can kind of see how much armor you've got and how much is going to be repaired. Same with internals. Same with if you have a salvage core, you can kind of see it goes from destroyed to restored. You can kind of see a bit of internals gets repaired too. So again, this was just stuff to try to make things more intuitive for new players and just nicer for those of us who are experienced. Also, people were getting confused by the weapons parts because they would try to drag it. They would say, oh, this mech has damaged weapons, I'll repair the weapons. And then they would say, oh, I can't repair the weapons, why not? So if you try to repair weapons on a mech that has destroyed weapons, you'll be told that only damaged weapons can be patched in yellow, destroyed weapons must be replaced in red, to try to give you a hint that it's like, oh, it's the yellow weapons that you can patch. So you could patch those. And you get little indicators now in terms of how many tokens you've spent and things like that. So, okay. I'm gonna bail out of this contract and we're gonna go find a better one. A more appropriate one. Contract abandoned. So let's do this. let's go back to one of the more central worlds here. Like this, I think this is where we started. We'll repair all of our units. We'll buy some new units, and we'll do like a normal mission. So, ooh, a great sword, bulldog, Icarus. Yeah, those are decent. I'm gonna repair all. And there's a bunch that needed different parts, which I am lacking. Let's see. Do they have stuff I can buy? I'm just gonna buy them out of everything. And oh, this is another super minor thing, but in the mods and stuff, bonuses or upgrades are shown in green and like downgrades are shown in red. So it's easier to kind of see like at a glance, like, you know, oh, what is this thing doing? Oh, it's reducing ammo and increasing damage. You know, so just sort of like it helps your like, you know, primitive monkey brain, the human brain, like see things faster. I'm just gonna go buy a few more parts so I can repair my mech so we can do one more mission here. And then I have to remember to actually tell you guys about the Steam stuff. So we want parts. Buy. Buy it all, sir. Okay, let's see what we can repair up now. Geez, we're still missing stuff. What are we missing? Oh, it's a lot of, heavy lasers, medium missiles. I'm gonna say it might be level 2 weapons. Let's try here. This is another super minor thing, but I always use the W, A, S, and D keys to like move around in the RPG area, but I know some people use the mouse, and previously, just the way the character moved, he was kind of on like a jaggedy pathfinding thing, but I made him like way more direct now. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but like he literally walks in a straight line now, so it's just, and then if you let go, he'll like use his pathfinding when he has to. But it's a tiny thing. But again, when I saw people playtesting, they were using the mouse to move, and I was like, I always use the arrow keys. The mouse I feel like is a little jaggedy, but now it's not jaggedy for anyone, so it'll be good. Okay, I'm just gonna, oh wait, I said I was here to buy some stuff, and then we're gonna find a mission. So let us do that. Trade some metal. So we're going to get parts. And then we are going to patch my dudes. Jeez. What am I missing? Missing lasers. A lot of lasers. All right. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Hire a few pilots. Looking for new crew. You're hired. You're in. Our vetting process is nothing. Welcome aboard. Enjoy the benefits. All right. A well-vetted crew. Well-vetted crew. And we'll come back over here and take a nice, easy mission. All right, let's see what they got. I guess I should just very quickly see if there's anything. Oh my god, they have a Monarch. I'm going to sell this thing. Buy the Monarch. I do love the Monarch. Oh, they had a few weapons too, I think, that I need. Repair all. Ooh, that Monarch has working weapons too. All right. All right. Meat's cheap. That is true. Meat is cheap. All right, let's do this one. I think the intercept missions, since I changed the AI in them, they're a little more manageable than they used to be back in the day. All right. So we'll do a Monarch, a Greatsword, 2 Bulldogs. Do these guys. Whoops. Guardian. And we'll do this. One nice thing about the sovereignty is as long as we have the cash, they will let us field whoever we want. So we'll go in, with the big boys. Really, yeah. Really don't have a appropriately skilled pilots for this level of mech. And some of these weapons are just totally trashed, but that's okay. All right, let's do this. Intercept the enemies. All right, alert. Enemy forces will try to bypass you to reach the evac zones. Do not let them. That's all the mission explanation you really need in life, isn't it? All right. So we got night mode going on. Again, when this releases, you're not going to have every single mission be night. It's just, I have it turned on for today's demo purposes. I hear them. New links just showed up. Oh, I see them over there. I'm going to send group 3 over here to intercept, and I will tell them to engage when they get there. Oh, you know what we didn't even look at? Hold on. X. Oh no, that's glitched. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that. Does that? Yeah, I knew that would be. Okay, we'll have to do this outside of combat. There's a range by heat display bars now. I'm gonna show that off to you. See, here we can watch this guy go critical, and then we can watch him damaged, devastated. He just took another hit, ruined. So it's like the shots keep coming. So again, in theory, what you want to do is kind of have your guys spaced out, firing at different, units, so that, like, yeah, maybe they get one extra shot after a unit goes down, but it's not like 5 guys pummeling it into oblivion. Also, more experienced pilots will pull back and stop firing after a mech goes critical faster. Less experienced pilots will just keep wailing on the guy. So there's another sort of factor in terms of, the effectiveness of gunnery skills. You can also use called shots. Downed. Okay. Oh, damaged. Okay, a bunch of missiles hit after it went down. You can see now this mech is in the damaged category. Oh, and all of its weapons are functional, so they'll all be viable for salvage. This link's got wrecked, though. Alright, we're getting some called shots. You can hear those beeps indicating that we've got some called shots ready. Let's... Wait, who's got a called shot? This guy does. So if I target this guy, and I shoot him in the legs, I can slow him down. So we can see that happen. So there we go. So now he's just going really slow. I think he had like 9 seconds of slow added. I plan to add a timer. No, I got ruined because he took too much damage. I plan to add a little timer that's just counting down really rapidly above their head so you can kind of see if they do have the slow effect. But it can be really useful on light mechs. Oh, that guy took an ammo explosion. Down he goes. Ooh, I think he might have... No, he got ruined too. It is possible to have mechs end up in the salvage pool. We're just kicking too much butt here. There's a lineman. Damaged. Nobody shoot at him. He's down. Stop, stop. He's already dead. Alright. Now, this is a case where it's like I have so many called shots. Maybe I'm like, yeah, I'm going to win this no matter what. So I'm going to let my, my main guys here, I'm going to let them just call their own shots. And then you'll see they'll just immediately start taking advantage of that. So the next shot they can, he did a core shot, they'll just use their called shots up on something. And they take the guaranteed shots, so the pilots won't risk missing. So it just gives them like an extra little oomph in combat, if you want. Yeah, we are wrecking these guys, although I have lost 2 units. It's not ideal. I'm gonna kind of pull these guys back a bit. Well, that guy just went down. So he's in pristine shape. See, it can happen. Oh, my Monarch kind of got separated at one point, and it's getting a little wrecked. Okay, we're gonna let everyone engage. Flee, mighty Monarch! Okay, let's do another called shot for funsies. Okay, so this guy is ready to... Oh, look at that. He is ready to die. Core shot on him for sure. Boom. Bam. Oh, this is another thing you may be noticing. So when units take damage now, rather than their health bar immediately dropping, you can see it builds up like a little red. So you can see, you know, how much health did they have in the last few seconds, and then what does it drop down to? And then it eventually just sort of drains down. But it allows you... It just gives you a little bit more information during combat, which I think is important and can help. Yeah, let's deathball these guys. I know I said not to, but screw it. Turning on all the auto called shots. Core shot, bombard. Take him down. Yeah, there he goes. The other guy's like questioning what he's doing in life. I'm gonna turn the called shots back to manual because I wouldn't mind doing one on this guy to finish him off. The way your meter builds up, by the way, it accumulates slowly in combat, but also significantly when you fire weapons. It doesn't matter if you hit, just that you fired a weapon. You earn focus based on the damage that weapon would do, whether it hits or not. And bigger mechs have longer focus bars, so smaller mechs have slightly smaller ones. The way it works out is mechs all earn focused shots at about the same rate, but small mechs, because they have fewer weapons, they earn called shots just by being in combat a little more, whereas bigger mechs have to actually be shooting their weapons a bit more because their called shot bars are smaller, bigger proportionally. But all right, let's finish this guy off with a glorious called shot. Also, here's the high energy cannon. Again, one of its special is that it doesn't actually destroy weapons generally. It does a guaranteed hit where every single weapon gets stunned for 12 seconds. So you can totally wipe a mech out. But, you know, weapons that can't be stunned are like cannons and machine guns, auto guns and stuff. So it's like those weapons still won't be stunned, but anything energy or missile based gets knocked out. So it's a fun shot. And it still does damage. You know, legs and weapons and stuff, they still do their normal damage on top of these special abilities. But, I mean, let's just finish him off. Boom! Boom, down he goes. Oh, and there's still a mech somewhere on the battlefield. Huh. Probably heading towards one of the evac zones? Unless he got stuck. I'm gonna speed up the time here. Like somewhere over here? Where the hell is this guy? Okay, hold on. I'm going to turn on like a cheat mode here. I can see everything. Oh, there he was. Turn it back off. He's just hiding over here. All right, down you go, buddy. Kaboom. Yeah, so we got a few mechs in the salvage pool there. So I still have to show you the heat chart and then tell you about what we're doing with Steam. So here you go. A couple of mechs ended up from my salvage pool in here. Mechs have about a 5% chance of ending up from the pool being pulled into the available salvage. So, you know, for every 20 mechs you take down, one of them will show up here. But in addition to that, they get stripped for parts, and some parts end up here. And then, of course, you have some repairs. And the total number of repairs and parts is what you negotiate in your contracts, where you negotiate the number of, you know, salvage options that you will have. So, yeah, we could take this if we want. And I've upgraded this to be like a drag and drop system so that it's a little bit nicer. You can also just, you know, use enter if you want and get the old confirmation. You can just right click if you just know you want it. Yeah, so everything's got a slight little polish to it to try to make it a little more aesthetically pleasing, intuitive, user-friendly, not so hacked together, feeling like, you know, a cheap fan game. which is what it started as, and maybe it still is truly, but okay, so here's one of the other new features. You can select any mech and you can have a chart tab where you can see its damage output based on its range. So for instance, we could look at the greatsword here. And notice the greatsword, one of its weapons is taken out. So rather than the yellow bars going up to the top, they sort of turn into dark red. And that's kind of showing you that it's like, it has the capacity to go a little higher, but it's got damage. And then the sort of, red part, the red filled in area behind the bars, this is showing you how much heat it generates at each range level. So you can get an idea of like heat to damage. So here's a bulldog that has 2 damaged weapons, and you can see the damage bars are reduced. And here's one with none, and you can see they're intact. So you can sort of get these nice reports. If you want an idea of like what's an effective range for a mech, you can be checking this out. Or you can go back to the loadout view, which is the normal view we used to have. All right, so that's all the major gameplay changes, I think. Let me just double check really quick here. Are there any other major things? There's a bit of update to the combat AI to make it stay in range properly. New salvage mechanic, mech death, blah, blah, blah. Bounty counter. Yeah, those are all the main things. So the other thing that I wanted to say today before we actually sign off. So, first of all, you're probably wondering, when can I play this updated version? I still have a little bit more shoring up of a few things to do over the next few days. And my goal is to have you have the patrons get their hands on this by next weekend, so that next weekend they can be playing it. Maybe even a bit before the weekend. We'll just see how the week goes. And then probably about a week or two after that, I want to package everything up together into the next demo. So I said before that, demos will update more slowly, kind of moving forward. The patrons are always going to get like the latest preview build and stuff, but demos I may only update like once every like several months or so. But the features that are in this, like the called shots and stuff, I want even people who are just discovering the game being able to use that. So it's like, this will be there will be a new demo. It'll just take me a little bit longer to sort of get that to you. So in terms of when you can play this, patrons within the week, whereas this fans generally or new players or whatever, keep an eye out in the next couple of weeks. I'll make an announcement about that. And I will also make an announcement in the next couple of weeks about the Steam page. So the Steam page is going up soon. And when it does, it'll sort of mark a big checkpoint. Oh, I'm blanking on the word. Milestone for us. So the game is probably still about 8 to 12 months away from like a real release, because it's like there's a whole other gameplay mode that I'm planning to package that I think is going to be essential to making the game even more addictive. But when it does come out, I will let you guys know. And one thing I'm really going to try and push is wish listing. Try and get as many of you guys to wish list as possible. Even if you've been a patron supporter and stuff, I would love to see you guys wish list it. You're still going to get so if you have been a supporter, I've said that when the game comes out on Steam, you'll get a copy and stuff. And that is still true. You will still get one. But if you can wish list it anyway, then it's like it helps make it look, to Steam, like more people are interested and they may actually promote the game. So I'll push that a little more when the Steam discussion comes around. But one thing that I also wanted to sort of tell you guys about that's sort of the future of MetalMercs is, how do I do this? Switch to standby, so transition this way. So there are, hold on, can I transition this way? There we go, okay. So these are a few things that are on the horizon for MetalMercs. So first of all, yes, as I said, Steam, hopefully by this time next year, the game is like officially released on Steam. The Steam page will be coming out much before that, and people can wishlist it. There'll be a demo, blah, blah, blah. Something, if you've been on the Discord and been paying attention, that is in the works, that is going to be my focus after this version is out, is something called adventures, which are going to be more linear-based stories, like kind of choose-your-own adventure stories within the MetalMercs universe, where there are still battles and stuff, and there's also some little story elements. I'll be discussing this more on Discord and then eventually doing some reveals on that. But there's a handful of people who have signed up as interested, like in developing some adventures for the game. And I have one sort of in my mind, and I'm in the process of getting the sort of user-friendly script ready so people can do that. And my hope is over the next year, while I'm building out the Great Expedition for the Steam release, that will also have some new content showing up in terms of adventures, which is something I'm excited about, to have more story-driven elements of the game. And if you are a patron supporter and you're kind of thinking, oh, great, well, the game comes out in 2025 and that'll be the end of MetalMercs, it's, in my mind, not the end of MetalMercs. I don't know. This is maybe putting the cart before the horse, but you know, the release that I'm planning for next year is sort of the first part of a much longer gameplay story that I've always wanted to tell with this game. So suffice to say that, you know, everyone who has supported the game up until this point, I am forever grateful. And I think nothing if after people buy the game on Steam, they, you know, decide to move on from Patreon and stuff, that is totally fine. That, you know, that's absolutely no hard feelings. In fact, I owe you a lot because you've supported the game. But I just wanted to explain that, you know, if you're thinking like, what does the future of the patron look like after the game comes out on Steam? There are several things that are planned for the next few years in terms of gameplay expansions and spin-offs that are going to keep being early released on Patreon. So it's still going to be there if you guys are interested in sort of being on the forefront of the MetalMercs universe. And specifically, how do I do this? There we go. This is what I want to transition to. So there are some near goals and some slightly farther along goals. And essentially, if I didn't have a job or a family, I think these could all be done in a couple of years total. But because I have a real life, I got to be realistic that each one of these is takes like a year to do. But anyway, the game's coming out next year on Steam, about 2025. After that, there's going to be an expansion in terms of the game going further beyond the core to some, going to add some new story and gameplay elements to it. And then after that, Titan, the planet which is completely underused, which I have all these plans for and I literally can't find the time to add stuff into, I'm finally going to be able to focus on. And people have been suggesting some interesting game modes that I do want to add. And you will be seeing those things start to emerge after that. And I'll just leave you with the titles, the working titles for now, which are Frontiers and War's End. And essentially, there's going to be some developments in terms of the politics of MetalMercs, of the universe as it exists. Some borders may shift, some alliances may change, and there will be new ways to play the game beyond just the current, sailing around, taking contracts, and going into random missions. So anyway, all this is to say we have a lot in store for MetalMercs. If you are a fan, there's going to be a lot to look forward to over the next few years. And I hope to do right by you and make every single one of these sort of expansions and ongoing projects worth it and fun and interesting. And so I think I'll stop rambling for now and just thank you once again for being supporters, for being fans, and keep an ear out for more news coming on the Steam page. So, yeah. That's it for me tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and keep an eye out on Patreon for the upcoming release of this version of the game, and just more to come very soon. So, yeah. That's it for tonight, guys. How do I go to a goodbye screen? Here we go. There we go. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you later.